Last night, the Portland Trailblazers fall to the Cleveland Cavaliers in what was probably a must-win game if they want to keep things going for the play-in of the last couple of days. I've talked about the math necessary because of the loss column. Heading into the night, the Blazers were 3 games behind the Mavs and Suns in the loss column and where they have to go to kind of get things done. What that means is however many wins those two teams, the Suns and Mavs, get, the Blazers have to win 4 more. Well, with a 122-111 loss to the Cavs last night, they basically have to go 8-1 in their final 9 games if they want to have a chance. Which,
so you're saying there's a chance?
Pretty unlikely now,
right? But I did feel like they played pretty well in the game.
I thought they played.
You got a lot out of the young guys. You didn't realize that Donovan Clingan is now going to be a 3-point specialist.
Look, the Blazers, they told me during his workouts and the process, they think at some point in time that he will be able to shoot it well enough.
He works at it. I mean, like when he first started out at UConn, he couldn't shoot outside of the paint.
Well, I mean,
look, he's not. He's not going to go 2 for 3 in most games. But if you can at least have something where, they got to honor it.
They're not going to. No, nobody is. It's about volume,
right? Well,
if he gets to where he's taking,
tongue-in-cheek.
Well, no, I'm saying like if he gets to like a Marc Gasol-ish level, then they have to kind of honor it, and it kind of bends it. Look, I don't expect him to be Kristaps Porzingis. I don't expect him to be a guy who's going to sit out there because his superpower is offensive rebounding. And last night he had 8 bleeping offensive rebounds.
He was awesome on the glass.
I thought
he's great defensively.
Despite it not being his best box score game, it was a good box score game. 18 points, 12 boards, 2 assists, 3 game like that. And it was like, oh.
Yeah. People don't give him enough credit.
DJ is one of my favorite players in the league. I love him.
Well,
I've loved him since he came in, and he was 4 of 16 in the first matchup. He had a really rough game against the Blazers, and that was part of the reason why that game was so close. Kenny Atkinson, the Cavs coach, though, pregame, said, watching the tape back, he goes, we were lucky. They should have beat us the first time. Like we just had some stuff go our way, and that's, you make your own luck a lot of times in the NBA, and being a veteran team, you're gonna when you're playing younger teams, you're gonna come up on the right side of that more often than not. Mm-hmm. But Darius Garland last night had 27 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. He was 11 of 19. If you're a basketball fan, I know Blazers fans, you're like, oh, I don't want Darius. Blah, blah, blah. Just be a basketball fan and see how good Tumani covered DG last night, and the shots that he hit were incredible. Floater after floater after, and the one that sealed it, like that in that 9-0 run,
Clingan.
That floater that just went straight up, straight down, over Clingan, up in the air. It was just like, oh my God.
It dang near touched the roof. Like that's how high up he shot it.
I mean, his touch is exquisite.
Yeah.
And that's the shot that I want Scoot Henderson to learn. Like, I want him to go to the Darius Garland, Mike Conley School of Floaters.
Well, but this also shows you, I mean, look, it's dumb, but hey, guess what? The Cavs are good. There's a step up.
They're really good.
Your last 2 games have shown you, like,
the difference.
Yes, you had a nice run. You played a weaker part of your schedule. You were able to win more games. And this team has clearly taken a step forward from what they were last year. Now, I know that upsets some people because now you're not going to get as good of lottery odds, but I do think that there is some solace in the growth of your young players. Tumani Kamara has been excellent defensively all year, one of the best in the league. Donovan Clingan, it's taken him a while. But remember in October, you're talking about Clingan, well, we're going to be happy if he gets 10 to 15 minutes. He played 32 minutes last night. 32, and he was out there the entire time, and he looked
and
great
wasn't in foul trouble.
Time.
And the only quote unquote bad foul that he took was after a Blazer on the other end didn't get a call. I think it was Sam Merrill ran into a guy, and it was like, all right, come on. Donovan Clingan just threw him to the ground, and he didn't argue. It was intentional. It was a message sending. Well, it was a message sending foul of like, oh, you think you're going to hit my guy and get away with it? Like, he threw him to the ground, didn't even look at him, stepped over him. Ref, blows the whistle for the foul, and Donovan just put his head down, walked the other way, and it wasn't a disappointed foul. It was a try that again.
Right. And that's the role he has to take on as the rim protector.
He needs to be the goon. And there's been times this year where he's been in foul trouble where he probably needed to goon it up a little bit.
And he couldn't.
And that was one of the things I was like, yes, good. Learn the dark arts.
Yes.
Because, look, Draymond Green is
Embrace your inner Hurley.
And like, Draymond Green is defensive player of a generation. There's no doubt about that. And the fact that he's defensive player of the year favorite right now ahead of Mobley, there's some stuff there I don't like. But there's something that happens or doesn't happen when he is on the court. No one has ever hard fouled Steph Curry with Draymond Green on the court. Not once.
You wouldn't dare.
You wouldn't dare because Draymond is about that life.
He's Marty McSorley to Wayne Gretzky.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one ever checked Gretzky when McSorley was out there.
Nope.
Because he was going to put you down.
You were going to physically pay for it. And I was like, good. Because that's as a big, unless you're Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, like, you do not, like, for the Houston Rockets right now, Steven Adams is out there. Steven Adams, if you just do not do anything sideways if Steven Adams is on the floor, because that big Kiwi is going to come over and cave your skull in.
Right.
Like, I had Klingon on the podcast, was it 2-3 weeks ago, and I asked him, who has surprised you this year? He thought about it for a second. He goes, Steven Adams. And I was like, what would you think? And he goes, you can't move him.
He's solid.
He goes, I was blown away by how strong he is. And I just kind of laughed. I'm like, DC, just so you know, he's kind of universally thought I was the strongest guy in the league. He goes, yeah, figured that out.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, I get it. And it's like, you have to be physically imposing if you're going to be that guy. Mm-hmm. And Donovan's been in foul trouble, or he's been a little uncertain of like when to close out, when to jump, when to stay down, how many steps he can take and recover. Like, that's the stuff you have to learn.
Right.
And I thought last night he did a great job of being in the right place, because fouls, particularly for young guys, they come out of two things: inexperience and not kind of understanding spatial stuff, and like reaching or like just rookie stuff. You know what I mean?
Trying to do too much, young mistakes that you learn by doing.
And that was the thing last night. I didn't think he got caught. Right. He didn't get his hand caught in the cookie jar. He didn't bite on pump fakes all the time. Like, I thought he was really, like, again, one of his better box score nights, not his best, but I thought his box score and how he played the game was the best thing that he had going for him. Yeah,
no, I loved it. You need to see growth. You're not a playoff team. You're not a play-in team yet. But if you want to be one next year, he's going to have to take steps forward, just like Kamara took this year, just like I feel like Scoot Henderson did this year. Shaden Sharp at times has done it as well. So you need more games like that, but I think it's a good sign.